Hey there. Hey, I saw something on the news last night that I wanted to weigh in on. You may have seen it. It was a story about disclosure, seller disclosure. So the question is, if you're selling your home, how much should you disclose? So the story is, I read it in the news. Somebody was selling their home. The buyer buys the home. They had a home inspection. They move into the home only to find out that a big section of the carpet had been cut out and removed. Well, it wasn't clear to the buyer or the inspector when they came through the home. There was no evidence of the carpet being removed because furniture was placed over the hole, so they couldn't see it. And so they certainly objected to that. This is after the close of the home. And so the question is, how much to disclose? Well, the seller there's a line on the disclosure that asks specifically if the seller is aware of any flooring deficiencies or issues. And the seller had marked no, but it was very clear that the carpet had been removed and they had furniture over it. Well, this reminded me of an experience I had earlier this year. It was I think it was February or March. I had clients that had purchased a home. It was during the winter, so there was snow on the ground. You're limited in how much you really can inspect during the winter months. Well, the sellers had disclosed that there is an automatic sprinkler system. Well, clearly that would be tested under normal or during the summer months. But as the springtime came around, they wanted to get their automatic sprinkler system going. Well, only to find out that yes, there were sprinklers, but the seller has disconnected the timer. So they were not automatic sprinklers. That was a disclosure item that is very explicitly addressed in the disclosures. So this is a challenge. And so the bigger issue comes up around representation. So when buying or selling a home, what are your options? Well, for a seller, this seller that was in the news, it was disclosed in the news report that they did not have an in-person agent helping them. I know what that means to me. I'll let you decide what that means to you. But clearly, they did not have adequate or professional representation advising them on what to do or what not to do, or what the consequences or risk would be by not disclosing. So ultimately in that story, the buyer exercised their legal right. They sued the seller for non-disclosure, and the judge sided with the seller. With the buyer. So it was very clear that the seller should have disclosed that missing carpet. The buyer was awarded damages and they were able to recarpet their home. Now in the case that I described with my client, I advised my client of the avenues to address this, and they are legal. My buyers, there were several items actually that came up that were not disclosed. My buyer made the decision that was right for them, but they did know what those options are. So no matter how you want to sell your home, just be aware of having good representation. While you might be saving money on the front end by paying a really low dollar in commission, you might be making up for with liability and risk in the end. So a professional agent is worth every dime because it's about risk management. So I just wanted you to be aware of this. It's a disclosure question, for both buyers knowing what their options are if something's not disclosed, but for sellers, it's kind of like your get out of jail free card. Disclose, disclose, disclose. People can handle and deal with the truth, I promise. So disclose it. So I hope that helps.